Hey, thanks for joining me today. Milo here. In this episode, I will be going over the process I went through in order to implement the first enemy into my game and the few kind of art that I have set up for the rooms and the enemy and the player and going through some animations and stuff. So without further ado, let's start. First things first, I wanted to be able to get different enemies and creatures like that later on in the game development process very easily. This is something that I wanted to do because I did not want to make massive scripts that basically have and do the same exact thing. So instead, I went in and made a script called enemy type and another script called bat. In the bat script, I made a few public variables that I'm going to turn private as I work out the differences between enemies. They are public right now, so I can adjust them in the inspector, but I'll turn them private later. These variables were a float for health and two ints, one called enemy money and another called XP given. In the update function, I made sure to make it so if the health reached below or equal to 0, then the enemy dies. This is where the enemy money and XP are added to the player. In the next video, I will go over some of the mechanics of the game, which include the battle system and the loot system. So I will be sure to fill you in on all that then. In the enemy type script, I made a public string where it's called type. You can assign the enemy's type via this string. And I also made a hit function, a public void hit function with a float parameter called take points. This function will be called in the player's attacks, which is a part of the battle system mechanics. Again, I'll get into that later, as I'm not fully done with it yet. There's still some kinks I have to work out. In the function, it will check if the type is equal to bat, and if it is, it will get the bat script from the object that the enemy type script is on. The next thing I did was I followed a tutorial from, I'm gonna say his name again, Blackthorn Prod, on making a patrolling idle and following game an enemy object. The link is in the description below. I don't have any notes on that. It was a very good tutorial, very clear, very quick, very easy. The only thing I'll say is just make sure to have all your tags in correctly and make sure that, make empty animations if you don't have animations that you would like to cycle through just yet. Instead of having a key activate the enemy, I had made an empty game object that is the child of the enemy called sight. I gave the sight object a box collider that is slightly bigger than the enemy and turned that into a trigger. I then created a new script called activate chase. I had a private animator in this script called enemy that I got through the get component function, which I'm showing on screen now, hopefully. The code's also linked below, so yeah, go check that out. I then made an empty child to the player with the tag player viz to show where the player would be visible to the enemy. I then had a function, onto the trigger function to the activate chase script, and then I got the idle behavior from the animator and activated it. I did the opposite with the exit to the function, in which I set the idle behavior to false. After completing that script, I went ahead and made another empty child with a trigger box collider for the enemy called attack. This is how the enemy is going to attack the player. I then made a script called bat attack, although this is subject to change because I would like more flexibility with this script. I then made two variables, both booleans, one public named already hit. It's public for testing reasons. I'm having some issues, and a private bull which is called In Range. I also made another empty trigger box collider for my player that hugs the player tightly called Hitbox. And this empty game object has the tag player box. In the attack script, I made a trigger enter and trigger exit function that has the in range bull going true when the player box is found, and going false when the player exits the box collider. I made two functions, one called attacked with the player health parameter. Player health is a script that we're going to get into in the next video. I'll most likely drop like a lot of these scripts as well with the code. Like I'll add in the player health script because that's required in this thing. I'll most likely add some more like scripts for the attack and stuff as well, so don't worry, I'll get you guys with that. Player health parameter called player that had the player health going down 1 and setting already hit to true. The second is called wait and it sets already hit to false. In the update function, I made an if statement checking if in range is true. Within this statement, I made another if statement that checks if already hit is false. Within that statement, I called for attack. In the parameter for it, I checked for a game object with the tag player. Make sure that to tag your player that. And then I got the component of player health from it. Outside of the already hit if statement, but in the range if statement, I had an invoke call function thing that called wait with a 5 float for the timer. Alright. That's all for implementing the enemy. Like I said earlier, I will get into the nitty gritty of the combat system next episode with loot drops and stuff like that. Now, as you guys have been seeing all throughout this video, I have finally gotten some art into my game. The assets are completely from the Unity Asset Store and they are all free. The sprites for the rooms is called Rogue Fantasy Castle by Azadai Art. The night is called Night Spreadsheet by Kin NG. And the enemy, the bat, is from Enemy Galore 1 Pixel Art by Admiran. I'm butchering most of these names, I am so sorry. These assets work well together, not perfectly, but for assets found in the store that are all from completely different things, they're close to being perfect. All of the assets are amazing in their own right, and especially for being free. The Knight is a wonderful group of sprites for a player. It has a lot of the things you need: dash, strike, dodge, I believe, jump. The bat has so many animations as well. They're all really useful and done wonderfully. And the Rogue Fantasy Pack is just beautiful. There's so many assets that I wish I could have gotten a chance to use in this game. And all of these will be linked in the description below. Please go check them out and give the creators all the love. I seriously, honestly respect people who are able to create these things and put them up completely for free and for others to use. Alrighty, that is it for this video. If you're interested in the next video, be sure to subscribe and leave a like on the video if you wish to support me. Also, go check out my website, shameless promo. Alrighty, this is Milo signing out. See you guys next time. Bye!